Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis at third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Schultz. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the second game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup for the Dodgers, left-hander James Paxton, and for the Padres, right-hander Matt Waldron. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt here inside the loft at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40 as the Padres go for a second consecutive win against LA. Coming up in the next 50 minutes or so, you'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schultz. We'll check in with Tony Gwynn Jr. in just a little bit. We'll chat with the guy who scored the winning run in the 9th inning last night, Tyler Wade, and much, much more to come. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside. Padres entered today with a record of 21-20. Padres have won 7 of their last 9 games. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are 26-14. Dodgers had a 7-game win streak snap last night. Even with that, they've still won 14 of their last 17 games. Dodgers have outscored opponents 101-33 in that 17-game span. Padres and the Dodgers have already played 6 games so far this season. Padres doing well so far against LA. They're now 4-2 against the Dodgers to begin the year. Before we turn our full attention to today's game, what a ball game. What an ending here at Petco Park last night. Let's take a look back.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
Both starting pitchers were dealing early on. Michael King struck out 8 batters in the first 3 innings. Tyler Glasnow took the mound in the bottom half of the third. He struck out the first batter of the frame. That was 5 Ks for Glasnow in just 2 innings and a third, but then Luis Campusano dug in.
On a night like tonight, maybe even smaller. Yeah. Campusano goes after the first pitch and hammers it deep to left center field. This one gonna go! Campusano came up hunting fastball. He got 97 on the way in. He sent it out at 105, and the Padres' first hit of the night is a home run to give them a 1-0 lead.
It stayed 1-0 as Glasnow and King just kept on throwing up zeros. King pitched a 1-2-3 fourth, a 1-2-3 fifth. He allowed a 1-out single to Freddie Freeman in the top of the 6th inning, but then King struck out Will Smith for the 2nd out of the frame, his 10th K of the night. Max Muncy was next.
1-1 to the number 9 hitter. Pitch on the way, and a ground ball slowly up the middle. Bogart's long way to his right has it. Glove flip to second in time, and beautifully done to end the inning. Might be Xander's best defensive play as a second baseman. 7 incredible innings from Michael King shutting out the Dodgers on 2 hits with 11 strikeouts.
All right, so that was the ground ball that ended the 7th inning. Got King through 7 shutout innings, 11 strikeouts for Michael King. Meanwhile, Tyler Glasnow was nearly as good. Through 7 innings, the only hit he had allowed was the solo home run to Campusano in the 3rd. We went to the 8th inning. The Dodgers tied it against Yuki Matsui on a sac fly from Freddie Freeman. We were still tied at 1-1, going bottom 9. Luis Campusano doubled to start the inning against Dodger reliever Michael Grove. That was the Padres' 2nd hit of the night, both from Campusano. With 1 out and Tyler Wade pinch running on second base, Luis Arise dug in.
Here's the first pitch from Grove. Line into center field and a base hit. Wade's on his way to 3rd. He's going to be waved. Outman's throw is on the way. No chance. And the Padres walk it off.
Who else? Luis Arise. First pitch hacking, pull it up the middle. The Padres take game 1 of this 3-game set.
His first home game as a Padre, and he wasted no time against Michael Grove. One of the most exciting games of the season and a great result as the Padres end the Dodgers' 7-game winning streak with a walk-off 2-1 win here at Petco.
What a win for the Padres. What a Petco Park debut in a Padre uniform for Luis Arraez. The final score last night, a thriller here at Petco Park. The Padres 2 and the Dodgers 1. And now the Padres playing game 2 of this 3-game series coming up at 5:40. As we get ready for first pitch, let's check in with Tony.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
We get ready for today's game here on the Padres Radio Network as the Padres take on the LA Dodgers game 2 of this 3-game series. We're joined by Tony Gwynn Jr. And Tony, let's start with last night's game. The walk-off hit for Luis Arraez. He's been so good in the very early part of his Padres career. What's impressed you most about what Arraez has done on the field, or just seemingly the energy he's brought, the whole package so far from Luis Arraez?
I mean, what is there not to be impressed with? I think ultimately when you have a guy that good come up, and it's been talked about, right? Like that is the expectation that he has set coming in, and it doesn't feel like it's often that a guy actually lives up to it. And so far, that's exactly what we've gotten from Luis. And I tell you, it's impressive to watch. Last night, it almost felt like you knew what was happening right there in that last AB as he ends up getting the game-winning hit.
Yeah, what a moment for Luis Arraez last night. What a thriller here at Petco Park. Let's talk about this game here tonight. Let's begin with right-hander Matt Waldron on the mound for the Padres here today. Waldron had a pretty solid outing against the Dodgers in L.A. back in April. Tough outing his last time out in Arizona. When you look at the repertoire for Matt Waldron, Tony, what do you feel like the keys are for Waldron here tonight against obviously a very dangerous Dodger lineup that Michael King did such an outstanding job against last night?
I think, for Waldron, it's pretty simple, at least the way I look at it. When he's able to get ahead, whatever it is, right? Whether it's the knuckleball, the fastball, the cutter, the slider, however he gets ahead, if he's able to do that more often than not, he tends to have more success in his starts. On the starts where he doesn't have, he struggles to get ahead, or he's really having to work to stay ahead, those are the ones that have gotten away from him. So when he's working ahead, it allows him to use the knuckleball more. And as long as he has a good one, there's been a couple outings where his knuckleball wasn't as sharp as we've seen it. As long as he has a good one and he's staying ahead, he can have success. We've seen him have success against this very same team.
Yeah, he did a good job in that first start against L.A., keeping the Padres in the ball game. And as long as he does that here tonight, I think he'll take it from Matt Waldron. Let's talk about the other side of this pitching matchup. James Paxton, veteran lefty on the mound for L.A. He walked a lot of guys the first time he faced the Padres this season. If you're the Padres lineup, no secret, despite the Luises picking up the 3 hits, 2 for Campusano, 1 for Arraez last night. It was a pretty tough go offensively against a great right-hander in Tyler Glass. Now, what do you hope the Padres offense does here tonight approach-wise against James Paxton?
I don't think they change anything. I thought the numbers don't necessarily look like it, but that Padre offense competed against perhaps some of the best stuff in baseball last night. And, listen, you go into those type of games understanding that, there ain't going to be a lot of hits out there for you. Certainly isn't going to be a ton of runs if he's on his game. And certainly Glass now was. And if I'm the Padres, I don't change anything. I think their approach overall has been so good this year. I mean, they're number 2 in hitting in the National League. And I think that has to do with the approach that they have taken all season long. Now, they're 21-20, so the record may not necessarily back all of it up, but I don't think the results in terms of what they've done offensively, I don't think they've been disappointing at all. So if I'm the Padres, I have the exact same approach I had last night. Paxton can get wild and lose the zone, and you don't help him out in that area.
Tony, before I let you go, I want to ask really the same question Mike Schilt earlier today. When you have guys like Cease, like Arise, that show up via trade and immediately make an impact the way these guys are performing right now, what does that do for a clubhouse when you have star players traded over and immediately they're doing the things you expect them to do?
I think initially when those moves are made, it's already a positive for the clubhouse. Yeah. They recognize that the organization is doing what they can to make the team better. But when those guys come over and they live up to the bill and they perform at the expectation level, it only breeds more confidence. I mean, this team, I think, is a pretty confident team prior to those deals. But you get Cease right before the season starts. You've seen what he's done. And then Arise comes, and he's been everything that everybody's talked about. I just think it breeds more confidence. And, for Arise in particular, it's a type of guy that a lot of the hitters will gravitate to and watch. They saw him pursuing 400 last year, so they know what he's about. And I think you would be foolish not to pay attention to him when he's, doing his thing.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun to watch. Cease and Arise continue to do what they've done. They've both been terrific so far in the early part of their Padres careers. Tony, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 5:30 as the Padres go for another win against the LA Dodgers. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, that is Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. Again, first pitch coming up at 5:40. We go out to Jesse and Tony at 5:30, and we've got a lot to do between now and first pitch. When we come back, we'll hear from the Padres manager, Mike Schilt, on a number of different topics. Plus, a little bit later, I caught up with Tyler Wade, who was on second base for that walk-off hit last night. We go through the mechanics of that play from Wade's perspective. Pretty interesting conversation coming up with Tyler Wade. We'll also have our keys to the game, and we'll also break down this pitching matchup between James Paxton and Matt Waldron. Lot to do before first pitch as our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected. EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you here inside the loft at the Western Metal Building as the Padres get set to take on the LA Dodgers. First pitch coming up at 5:40 as the Padres try to follow up what was a thrilling 2-1 win last night here at Petco Park. We'll see what's in store here today with right-hander Matt Waldron on the mound for San Diego. Veteran left-hander James Paxton on the mound for the Dodgers. A quick look at the Padre lineup entering this one. At first base today, first time he's played there as a Padre, Luis Arraez. Rest of the lineup looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field, batting second. Jurickson Profar in left field, batting third. Manny Machado DHing, batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts at second base, batting fifth. Donovan Solano at third base, batting sixth. Ha-Sung Kim at shortstop, batting seventh. Jose Azocar in center field, batting eighth. And Kyle Higashioka doing the catching, batting ninth. So the notable absences from the Padres lineup: Jake Cronenworth getting a day off, Jackson Merrill getting a day off, Luis Campusano day game tomorrow after a night game tonight, so in all likelihood, if Campusano played tonight, he wouldn't have played tomorrow. So Higashioka getting the start tonight, catching Matt Waldron. You would assume Campusano will now play tomorrow in the afternoon game. But again, Cronenworth a day off, Merrill a day off, and Campusano with the day game tomorrow also a day off out of the starting lineup here today. With all that in mind, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Schill.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schultz. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Luis Campusano last night had 2 of the 3 hits for this team and is on a 5-game hitting streak. What have you liked about him as of late at the plate?
I think he's really, I saw some earlier today, I won't get it exactly right, where he's had multiple hits and feels like about a third of the last, opportunities he's had. So it comes back getting a good pitch to hit and not missing it, and even the pitch he hit last night for the homer, it's really a pretty good pitch. Ball was up, got to the middle of the plate, but man, he put a really great swing on it. And actually not trying to do too much, and then the power shows up, and then of course clearly a big hit down the line for the double to eventually be the winning run.
Now this team's going to see a left-handed pitcher today. What are some of the challenges that have come from left-handed pitching for this team?
I don't think we've seen them a lot. Our lineup's built mostly right-handed. We haven't seen a lot of left-handed starters, and people aren't running out a bunch of left-handed relievers against us. So we just haven't seen as many lefties as we, typically would see. But we've got a lot of good numbers against lefties, and feel good about our lineup against lefties.
You're still kind of getting a grasp on, with the new guys that have just come in the last week, on how to construct those lineups against lefties in particular.
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good handle on it. You're always looking to improve and observe what you're seeing and take it from there, but we know Solano's a good hitter, but also clearly good against lefties, and he created an opportunity for that, and it's happened to fall on days where Manny's DHing, so it's slotted in nicely for Donovan to get in there against those lefties, and I feel like we're in a pretty good spot with that.
Just a day off for Jake.
Yeah, listen, there's only so many places to go around, Yeah, Jake's in a great spot. Feels good, if that's the question. But, with Manny DH, want to get a rise back out there, and Solano's done a nice job at third. And again, like I mentioned, good against lefties. So, creates an opportunity for Jake to get the start off.
Is that going to be harder to manage when Manny's going to be playing third base every day, getting those guys in there?
I don't think it's going to be harder to manage. I think clearly guys are going to be wanting to be in the lineup. There's going to be an odd man out occasionally. But, man, way rather have that opportunity than trying to figure out who's going where. It'll be something that we'll continue to work on, be matchup based, similar to like it is today, and be communicative on how guys are feeling, and guys are going to get maybe more of a blow some days than they want, but it will keep them fresh over the long haul.
Can you talk about the impact of Kim, even though he's not hitting where he would like to? Yesterday with a double play, so he's able to impact the game defensively.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Kimmy's done a lot of really good things for us this year to help us win games. Played a lot of good defense that hopefully we're not taking for granted. At least I'm not. It was a huge double play to end that 8th inning last night. You talk about a couple bang-bang plays, but just a really good baseball play. He's made a couple balls coming in lately, balls to his backhand. This guy's just really, really doing a lot of good things, and he's running the bases really well. You know, he'd like to, be on the base a little bit more, but he will be. I'm confident of that, but, he's doing a lot of good things to help us win games.
The two guys that were acquired, Cease and Arise, obviously they've done really, really good things on the field so far. When you have guys come over like that in a trade, immediately produce, contribute, what does that do for a club as a whole?
It does quite a bit. You get a proven player, there can be, and usually is, some adjustment period. I've gone through that in my career, and that's understandable coming to a new organization, especially guys that have never done that, coming from an organization that they've only grown up with. But it speaks ultimately to the credit for them to come in and just acclimate and go play. And also, I appreciate the clubhouse being our players, doing their part to open their arms to these guys and make sure they feel welcomed and a part of what we're doing. And of course, I and the staff have a responsibility to make them feel comfortable at how we operate and how we conduct our business, and make them feel, welcome. And there's a question earlier about, creating clarity of how they're going to be used. So it's a combination of things, but ultimately it's the player responsibility, and they've done a nice job of it.
What does it do for the vibes? Like the fact that you have this group, and then all of a sudden, right on the eve of the season, you get better, and then in early May, you get another guy that makes you better.
Yeah, the group before we got Dylan was bought into the group being the best version of themselves. But anytime, and it's a tip of the hat and applause for AJ, to be able to add a guy like Dylan the last day of spring training. Clearly, it makes the club feel like, yeah, we're definitely looking to, which we were before that, looking to compete and win and be the best version of ourselves. And then you go out and the season starts and you add a guy like Arise, same deal, and it continues to reinforce that what we're pouring our daily investment into to compete and win in this division and win ultimately a championship is supported.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game on a variety of different topics. We'll hear more from Mike Shildt coming up a little bit later during our post-game show after this one is over. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40, Game 2 of this 3-game series. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We begin with the hot category. Luis Arise certainly in there in the midst of a 17-game on-base streak, batting .361 in that span. So far with the Padres, 9 for 24 with 5 runs scored. Jake Cronenworth in the midst of a 12-game hitting streak. That was snapped last night, though. Still hitting .346 in the last 13 games, 9 extra base hits, 11 RBIs in that span. Again, he did have the 12-game hitting streak heading into last night. That got snapped, but still playing very well here in the last 13 games. Luis Campusano not in the lineup here today, but in the midst of a 5-game hitting streak, 7 for 19 with 4 extra base hits, 6 RBIs. Last night was Campusano's 27th multi-hit game in 93 career starts. He continues to do a lot of good things. In the hot category for LA, Shohei Ohtani batting .441 with a .525 on-base percentage in his last 9 games. 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 8 runs in that 9-game span. Freddie Freeman also in the hot category in the midst of an 18-game on-base streak, .354 batting average in that span, 10 extra base hits, 14 RBIs in those 18 games. We take a look at the not category at a couple of Dodgers and one Padre. Let's begin with the Padre. Xander Bogaerts struggling still, 0 for 11 in his last 3 games. Couple of Dodgers to take a look at. One in the starting lineup, one is not. The guy in the starting lineup, James Outman, just 7 for his last 52 in a span of 18 games. That's a .135 batting average in that span. Chris Taylor batting .071 this season in 56 at-bats. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Dodgers. Let's quickly pause for Station ID on the Padres Radio Network.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hi, this is Michael King. The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 station, 97.3 The Fan.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
Sam Levitt with you here inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 5:40. A lot of people here inside the Western Metal Building having a good time, drinking their beers. I see some mixed drinks out there, some food out there. Everybody having a nice time on this Saturday evening. Why not settling in for what should be a fun night of baseball here in downtown San Diego? As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. Instagram DM's open as well. Sammy Lev there too, SAMMYLEV. You can send me what your key to tonight's game is. I may just read it here on the air. We'll hear my keys coming up a little bit later in our pregame coverage. And if you're watching on our fancy new video stream on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you can comment your key to the game. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from. May just read your key a little bit later here on the pregame show. When we come back, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our keys to the game, plus I talk with Tyler Wade, who was on second base for that Luis Arraez walk-off hit last night, scored the winning run. We go through the mechanics of that situation, of that play with Tyler Wade, what it was like crossing home plate and celebrating with the Padres out on the field. So we catch up with Tyler Wade and much, much more when we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres get ready for Game 2 of this three-game series against the LA Dodgers. We'll have our keys to the game coming up in just a little bit. We'll also hear from the man who scored the winning run last night, Tyler Wade, in a moment as well. A couple of items to get to from social media. We have Adam in University Heights saying that Adam's key to the game is good pitching from Matt Waldron, getting the bats hot tonight. Adam, no doubt about it. That would be a good recipe for success. Also, a shout-out to Anthony Parra celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Anthony. Thank you for tuning in here on the Padres Radio Network. Before we have our keys to the game, a look at the full out-of-town scoreboard, let's check in on the injuries for the Padres and the Dodgers impacting this series.
Who's in, who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Let's begin with the Dodgers because they have some injuries that are certainly impacting this series. Remember, Walker Buehler is back with the Dodgers after undergoing Tommy John surgery. He made his first start returning from the IL last week. He will start tomorrow's game against the Padres. So for the first time in a long time, Padres will see Walker Buehler tomorrow. Blake Treinen off the IL and onto the roster. He appeared in last night's game. Remember, Evan Phillips is on the IL right now for the Dodgers, so they're without one of their better relievers in Evan Phillips. As far as the Padres side of things, nothing really impacting this series in particular. Joe Musgrove obviously on the IL right now, dealing with tricep tendinitis. Everything we continue to hear is good about that situation with Joe and the potential that he'll return once he's eligible off the IL. And that's a look at the injuries here tonight and entering this series between the Padres and the Dodgers. Had somebody taking a selfie with me. I got distracted. Sorry. All right, we'll hear from Tyler Wade coming up here in just a moment. First, let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues. Here's what's going on. We have a number of finals already today. Rays beat the Yankees 7-2 in Tampa Bay. Randy Arozarena, a 3-run home run in that game for Tampa. Phillies beat the Marlins 8-3 in Miami earlier. Red Sox beat the Nationals 4-2 in Boston. Rafael Devers, go-ahead 2-run double in that game for the Red Sox. Orioles beat the Diamondbacks 5-4 in 11. Jordan Westburg, the walk-off hit for the O's in that one. The Braves beat the Mets 4-1. The main story in that game, the Braves came 1 out away from a combined no-hitter. J.D. Martinez hit a home run for the Mets with 2 outs in the 9th inning to put the Mets on the board and break up the no-no bid. But the Braves do win it 4-1 in New York. Blue Jays beat the Twins 10-8 in Toronto. Other games going on right now, Rangers and the Rockies scoreless in the first inning. Brewers ahead of the Cardinals 1-0 in Milwaukee in the 4th. Giants ahead of the Reds 4-1 in San Francisco in the 4th. White Sox ahead of the Guardians 2-1 in Chicago, 4th inning there. Tigers leading the Astros 8-2 in Detroit in the 7th inning. Cubs ahead of the Pirates 8-6 in Pittsburgh in the 5th. Game still coming up, 2 aside from this one. Royals in Anaheim taking on the Angels, and the A's in Seattle taking on the Mariners a little bit later on as well. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday. Well, last night, Tyler Wade came into pinch run for Luis Campusano after Campusano started the 9th inning with a double, so it was Wade on second base representing the winning run. He had the chance to score the winning run, dive across home plate, go out in the celebration with all his teammates as Luis Ariz won it. I caught up with Tyler Wade about that situation last night, and we broke it down. Tyler, let's get into the mechanics of that situation yesterday, a game where you're coming off the bench. Obviously, it's late. It's a tie game. I'm sure you're somewhat aware that you might be called on to pinch run in this situation. What does that look like for you coming off the bench and making sure you're ready to go?
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of have good feel of when and what guys I can run for or substitute for, and then Schulte and Espo do a really good job of communicating that pregame or in the dugout when and who that I need to be ready for. And then I kind of just played manager throughout the game. Like, okay, like it's the 8th inning here, 9th inning here. I could probably just run for Campy, like in that situation last night. So once I know that, they communicated that to me. I look in their bullpen to see who's up. They had Grove and Hudson, their closer. So I kind of just did my homework on both of those guys and then be ready for whoever came in the game. And then, and then Campy made it easy on me getting the second. So, I mean, with Luis up, I was going to give him a pitch or two to drive me in, but I was going to steal just because I had a good game plan. But, he's an aggressive hitter, and, you guys saw what we did last night, so yeah.
So in that spot before Arise gets the hit, I mean, it's on your mind. Maybe you're trying to take third at some point.
Oh, yeah. I was out there for, 4 or 5 pitches with Kimmy, maybe more. So I was kind of getting a feel of what his timing was, what his looks were. So I had a pretty good rhythm. And I don't know if you can kind of see in the video, I was kind of shuffling and getting that rhythm before he swung right there. So, yeah, I was going to give him a pitch or two just because, I don't want to take the bat out of Luis's hands there. Right. But, yeah, I mean, he did a really good job swinging out a good pitch over the middle of the plate. But, yeah, I was ready for anything that came my way last night.
Arise obviously is somebody who is very, very capable of collecting a base hit in that kind of spot. The ball's hit the center. What's your perspective from there and what happens?
Just run. I knew where my outfielders were. I knew where the infielders were. So I knew off the bat it was a base hit. So I was just sprinting as fast as I can and trying to score right there.
Bring me through the emotions of diving across home plate, going out to celebrate, packed house, big win.
It's cool. It's when you're out there, you don't hear the noise, right? It's just kind of like numb. And then as I cross home plate and I see Toddy welcoming me, I kind of hear all the roar and everything like that. And then it's cool just to run out there and celebrate the win with the boys. So yeah, it was unreal.
Finally, this guy to your left, locker mate now, Luis Arise. Just your early impressions of him as a hitter so far.
It's impressive. It's very impressive. Just the way you can see, in his at bats, the approach, what he's trying to do, and it's funny. You'll ask him what he's gonna do to this guy, or what his approach is, and he goes up there and does it. I asked him in Arizona I forgot who it was. He was like, yeah, he's gonna throw me. I haven't seen a changeup. Yeah, he's gonna throw me a changeup. I'm gonna hit the left. Do him a changeup and hit the left. So that's easier said than done, right? So being able to actually execute a game plan like that is it's very impressive.
That was Tyler Wade before today's game. Tyler scoring the winning run in last night's win against the Dodgers. First pitch coming up at 5:40 as the Padres take on the Dodgers in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Let's give you our keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number 1, keep being good in big spots. Some good stuff from Kevin Acee this morning in the San Diego Union Tribune. Last night was the 7th time this season the Padres won a game where they trailed or were tied in the 7th inning or later. For context, the Padres had 17 of those wins last season, and 6 of them came in the final month of the year. Even beyond that, when you compare the Padres in certain situations this season to what they did last season, they have been 2 very different teams. So let's quickly compare it. Late and close situations. 2024, Padres batting .285. Last season, they batted .199. Quote-unquote high leverage situations at the plate. Padres batting .305 this season, .210 a year ago. Runners in scoring position. Padres batting .276 in 2024, .241 in 2023. I bring this up not to keep comparing this year to last year, but more so to say this. Against this Dodger team, you're probably going to have to beat them in a close game. You're probably going to have to come through late. We saw it in LA. We saw it last night. The Padres need to keep coming through in those kinds of moments like they did last night. That's key number 1. Key number 2, Matt Waldron has to do what he did in LA and keep this starting pitching rolling. Matt Waldron's first start against the Dodgers in LA, he allowed just 1 run in 5 innings. He worked around a season-high 4 walks. Was he perfect? No, but he kept the Padres right in the game. The Padres have won 7 of their last 9 games, posting a .285 ERA over that span from their starting pitching. More than half their runs allowed have come in the 2 losses. I should actually say that .285 ERA is the overall ERA in the last 9 games. Waldron doesn't have to be perfect tonight, but he has to do something like what he did in LA. Another thing to watch with Waldron, he's been better as the game goes along. The first 2 innings this season, Waldron has a 9 ERA. Innings 3 through 6, a 2.25 ERA. Can Matt Waldron get off to a good start against this LA lineup here tonight? That's key number 2. And key number 3, limiting Shohei Ohtani. He was the only Dodger last night with 2 hits, and he had the only extra base hit in last night's game for LA. Remember, he is terrific. As if you needed any reminder, the reigning NL Player of the Week. He's hitting .480 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, 5 walks, 4 stolen bases in the last 7 games. He leads the major leagues, or I should say the Dodgers lead the major leagues in batting average, runs scored, hits, walks, on base percentage. You get the point. The Dodgers are a great offense, even though they didn't show it last night, and it's led by Shohei Ohtani, who is really swinging the bat well right now. You have to find a way to limit Ohtani. You have to find a way to limit this Dodger offense as a whole, whether that's Waldron, whether that's the bullpen. That's key number 3, and that's a look at our keys to the game. When we come back here on the Padres Radio Network, we'll tell you what to watch for in this game, and we have a full breakdown of this starting pitching matchup between James Paxton and Matt Waldron as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up in just a little bit here on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft at the Western Metal Building as we get ready for first pitch between the Padres and the Dodgers. And your ears did not deceive you. That was Spice Girls with the bumper music coming back there. So we're having a good time here on this Saturday night as the Padres go for another win against the LA Dodgers. I've got a couple of Amarillo, Texas friends from my time with the Amarillo Sod Poodles. We've got Tess, Sam, and Mark visiting right now, so shout out to them. They're having a good time at the game here tonight as well. We'll have our pitching matchup coming up in just a moment, a preview of that between Matt Waldron and James Paxton. But first, let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
We take a look at what to watch for in today's game, and that is specifically the matchups for the Padres against left-hander James Paxton, because there is a track record of success against Paxton for a few guys in the Padres lineup here tonight. Manny Machado, 5 for 11 against Paxton with 2 extra base hits off him. Xander Bogaerts, 7 for 28 with 3 home runs in his career against Paxton. Jurickson Profar, 5 for 15 in his career against Paxton. Can those guys, Machado, Bogaerts, Profar, continue to have a good amount of success against this left-hander? That's what to watch for in today's game. Now let's dive into our pitching matchup between Matt Waldron and the lefty, James Paxton.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Matt Waldron, 27 years old, here in 2024, 1-4, a 5.82 ERA, 7 starts, 34 innings, 29 strikeouts, 13 walks, a 284 opponent batting average. Last start Sunday in Arizona, went 3 innings, 8 runs given up, 7 of those earned, 8 hits, 1 home run allowed, a career low in innings pitched for Waldron. Made the start against the Dodgers in mid-April, when 5 innings allowed 1 earned run on 3 hits. The arsenal for Matt Waldron, 4-seam fastball, knuckleball, sweeper, sinker, and a cutter. He's thrown that knuckleball 35% of the time. It's been his most effective pitch so far this year, an opponent batting average of 220 against it. Meanwhile, left-hander James Paxton on the mound for LA, 2024, 4-0, a 3.06 ERA in 6 starts, 32-plus innings, 18 strikeouts, but he has walked 24. That's tied for the most walks allowed in the major leagues this season. Last start Sunday against the Braves, 6 2/3 innings, 1 earned run given up, 5 hits, he allowed 1 home run. Made the start against the Padres in mid-April in LA, when 5 innings, 3 earned runs given up. He walked 8 batters in that game, 3 hits, and gave up a home run to Manny Machado. This will be his 3rd career start at Petco Park. He made 1 last year with the Red Sox, the other with the Mariners all the way back in 2016. The arsenal for Paxton, 4-seam fastball, a knuckle curveball, a cutter, a changeup, and a sinker. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup here today between Matt Waldron and James Paxton. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game show. You're listening to your home for the San Diego Padres, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.